the healing starts. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. It's more than just a story. It's a brand new learn, seeing where the trauma stops and where the light begins. Breaking generational chains, link by link, learning how to feel, learning how to think, guarding my spirit, my mind, and my peace. Watching the anxiety and the tension release. I found a self-love that was always meant to be. A gift from God, now living in me. No more worthlessness, no more shame. I'm calling out the joy and I'm calling it by name. I am conscious of the seeds we sow. Watch how the garden starts to grow. But I love my leaves, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. Breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. Spread the love, spread the light, live your best life. Hold on tight. I love Marlene, for Marlene. The journey has just begun. Hello, everybody. Uh-oh, what happened to Miss Nexie? She must have just dropped down. Maybe it booted her out. But welcome, everybody, to the Sip and Chat for this week. This week, we are... Oh, there is my co-host. I think you're back, Miss Nexie. Hopefully, she's back.
Hey, Miss Marlene.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and yourself? I'm sorry, I grabbed my
Oh,
phone.
your volume is super low.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, but it's very faint. I don't know. It could just be me.
Oh, okay, because I already have it all the way up to the max, and
Okay, so maybe it's just me, and you're fine. So how are you doing today, Miss Nexie?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I said I was grabbing my phone to move around, and I pressed the exit thing, and I was like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" So I pressed exit, and then I said, "I'll just come back." One of those days, Miss Marlene. One of those days. Do you want me to get out and then come back? Maybe it can improve.
No, it's not you, Miss Nexie. It's me because I just checked on my tablet. So on my phone, your volume is low, but it's just my phone.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So ignore my previous statement. Hey, realist. Hey, always. Hey, Tasha. How are you guys doing? Welcome into the Sip and Chat. So, Miss Nexie, you know I have what I have to say. What are you sipping on?
Oh, nothing fancy, Miss Marlene. Just plain old water.
Plain
Just
old water. Very good. Stay hydrated out here.
You know what?
Okay,
It's
my
warm enough.
turn.
What are you sipping on, Miss Marlene?
Miss Nexie, today I'm being bad and
Uh-oh.
I'm having a pineapple soda. I am not supposed to have soda. I'm supposed to
Oh.
be restricting my sugar, but I don't care. Today I'm
Hey,
having a
you
soda.
know what? You can have once in a while you can break that rule. It's okay. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong. Just tomorrow or the next
Yeah,
day you don't
tomorrow
drink one.
it's going to be all water for me today. For me tomorrow, but I needed a soda.
See what
Look,
I
I
mean?
always put in the chat a whole bunch of eyes.
Hi, always. Hi, realist. Hi, everyone coming in.
Yes. It's so good to see everybody. Realist says, "Where's the alcohol?" A realist, I'll leave that for you. I'll leave that for you. I'll leave the alcohol to you.
Just don't bring her around Miss Nexie because she'll give it away.
Or Miss Nexie. I'll leave the tequila and the rum for Miss Nexie.
Not around Miss Nexie. She'll give it away. As James will say.
Yes. So, Miss Nexie, this week our topic is they are not that into you. And I have to say, Miss Nexie, I'm kind of triggered. So I have to say trigger warning. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So the reason why I wanted to do this topic is because I'm a little salty and I'm feeling a little froggy today, Miss
Uh-oh.
Nexie.
Uh-oh.
Um, I feel like being very petty
Uh-oh.
and saying whatever I want to say because I don't care.
Okay, say whatever you got to say, girl.
So for my thing is I got out of a very toxic relationship, right?
Hmm.
Miss Nexie, you know what I'm talking about. And so does
Yes,
Always,
I
and so
do.
does Gio. There's a few people who know me off of social media, but I got out of a very toxic relationship. And the more that I have put two and two together, Miss Nexie, from the beginning, they were never into me. What it is
Hmm.
that we are into them and they're not into us.
Yes, ma'am. That
Mm,
can be the case. That can actually be the case. I don't have that much experience in the dating scene because, again, I married my first everything and got divorced, and I haven't dated anyone since. But I do have seen a lot of coworkers, male or female, that are going above and beyond for their partners, for these people, whoever they're dating, right? And that other person, and I can see it, Miss Marlene. And I'm like, that other person is not treating them the same, is not as nice to them as they think, their partner in crime is. They're not in love, as much in love, I guess, as the people that I've seen go through this. And I'm like, "Ca- maybe because I'm on the outside looking in, I'm always asking, in my I'm not asking them, right? Because that would be, disrespectful and it won't be nice. But I'm always asking myself, can so and so see it? Like, he really doesn't like her. Like, he's really not that into her. He's really not devoted. He's really not committed. He's really not, or she is taking advantage of his kindness. She's using him. So I see these things. I wish I could go over there and say, hey, you know what? Snap my fingers and say, get over it, because he's not that into you, or she doesn't really appreciate you. She's taking advantage of you. But you can't, right? You can't do that.
yeah, but Miss Nexie, the whole thing about it is when you're in the relationship, what is it called? Love is blind.
Mm-mm.
And but the thing is, we think, and I got quotes like you guys to see me with air quotes,
I saw
but
them. I heard them too.
you saw them. Oh yeah, that's
and I
good.
and I heard them too.
You heard them. So the thing about it is, we call ourselves we're in love with them, right?
Hmm.
And it's nothing but manipulation, lies. And the thing about it is, you could be head over heels over somebody and they treat you like trash.
Hmm.
And that's one
Yes.
of the things, like, really doing some evaluating, like, what did I ever see in them? This is a very honest conversation.
Yeah. Again, it depends. I think that I will credit that to, maybe you were feeling lonely. Maybe this was, the first person that you had a great conversation with, or you had a great time eating or talking or whatever, or listened to you maybe for the first time ever or in a long time, and you just confuse that with, oh my god, this is a great person, so he was there or she was there for me, whatever it is that you confuse that. But because I feel that there's a one moment that reels us in, right?
Yes.
That we're like, oh my god, and we see that person, maybe because we're, again, in low spirits, down or whatever, we see that person as our savior, I guess I can say. And
Yes.
so because I've seen people that have said, well, I love her so much because when so and so got sick, she was right there with me, and I'm thinking, yeah, but how, like that was past. Like I don't like the way they treat you now, but they, what I mean? But you can't say that. You can't. I do not understand because I've never been again in love with someone like that. I don't know if I can have that type of feeling. But I think in my head, I'm like, I think I'll be able to see if that person didn't like me. But I think I'm wrong, Miss Marlene. I think I'm wrong on that.
Miss Nexie, you would think so because what I'm going to say is I'm not trying to say anybody is stupid, but for me, I should say that I got into the relationship because you think that you're trying to escape a situation and you go from a bad situation to a terrible situation. You know what I mean? Like trying to
Mm-hmm.
leave the home, like when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, oh, I got to get away from these people. And you think by being grown, as they would call it, you think that
Mm.
that's going to be the cure all for your problems.
you know, yeah, that I think that's one scenario, but for now, I think that um the times that we are in right now, I see a lot of couples not really. I, I don't want to say anything wrong,
Miss Nexie,
but
say it.
okay. Well, I see a lot of couples that are instead of they're in the relationship, and yeah, you see one more committed than the other, but they're both in it for something, not feelings. They're getting something out of it, right? One is more in love than the other one, yeah, but they're not in love like back in the day that you were like, oh my god, I'm gonna marry them because I'm in love.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. And I see that they're more into what can I get out of this relationship, or what am I not getting out of this relationship? It doesn't matter because I need a roommate right now, right? So rents
Hmm.
are high, whatever, and I need someone to. So it's okay if it's her, or if it works, doesn't work. But by that time, I'm already going to have another roommate or whatever it is that they're staying there for. Because I see that they're not that in love with one another, but they stay. So it's kind of weird.
Oh, Miss Nexie, I have to say what I remember what one of my parents said, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus and say which parent it was, but they know who they are. But one of my parents say that when even if you're unhappy and you're miserable, you stay because you made a commitment.
Okay, I just heard, you know, mom yell at dad. I'm not sure if that if it's the right person, Miss Worthy. I'm joking. No, my dad used to say the same thing. If it's not, if that person, and not in these words, but I've heard also my aunties that they will say, well, if he's not hitting you, if he's not, throwing you out with your kids, whatever, then you committed yourself to this person. You got to stay. And I'm like, okay, so it has to be hitting me. Verbal abuse doesn't matter, or that I don't love that person, or that he probably doesn't love me, so I cannot leave him because he's not hitting me. I
Yeah.
thought it was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've
I
heard that before, Miss Marlene. You're
yeah.
committed. You're married. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, or you've been together so long. Why would you want and people will tell you, "Oh, that's a good man or that's a good
Hmm.
woman. Why would you leave them?" And for me, it sounds like, "Well, you're so into them, then why don't you keep them?"
Miss Marlene, now let's be honest, let's be real, let's be everything.
Mhm.
Did you have anyone saying, asking, why are you marrying him?
Mm.
Like, what is so wrong with you? Like, I had people asking me that, my sisters. Why? Because I think that they probably saw what we're talking about today, right? that person is not really in love with you. That person is more out of, I don't know. But my sister will ask me, like, are you sure? Why are you marrying him? Like, why? Like, maybe they didn't see that I was, that into that person, and they were probably trying to tell me, it's not gonna work because you are not. They never said the reason why they were asking me this question, but they did ask me this, like as we were engaged and planning, the marriage and everything, and they would ask me like, "Why are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I'd be like, "Of course I am. I love him
Exactly.
and I want to stay with them forever." And but they will ask me like, "Are you sure? Or why? What made you decide that he was the one?" But I didn't realize until afterwards that they probably didn't want to tell me it's not going to work or you're making a mistake, right? Because they didn't want me probably to hold it against them later on. But they saw more than I did.
Yeah. Miss Nancy, like I said in this live, that I was going to be froggy. So I'm going to tell you my honest reason. Only reason why I stayed in the relationship,
Hmm.
the only reason was for sex. That's it.
Marlene,
Hey,
it's a
I'm
good
telling the
reason.
truth.
It's a good reason.
It's a reason, and it's a real reason. Hey,
And
Shay.
it's a good one too. It's a good reason.
It's a good reason,
Okay.
but honestly, Miss Nexie, as time goes on, yeah, you could start a relationship, and if you have a relationship and it's based on sex, that's a strong pull in the relationship. But if all you have is sex, now here's that's where the problem, and that's when my eyes got opened. It's like
Mm-hmm.
after a while, it doesn't matter how good sex is, it starts to be a yawn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boring. What
Yep.
else you got?
Because yeah, there's nothing else. And some people do it because the economy is good, right? He can
Hmm.
support me. He can give me this. He can give me that. I'm okay. I'm comfortable, and I'm safe, and my kids are okay. But once you have resolved that, hey, you know what, I can work too, and I can make the same amount, maybe a little bit less, but I can do it as well. And then you start going through the layers of, okay, besides the economy or besides this, companionship, what do we got? There's nothing else. And that's when you start feeling like you made that mistake, right? You're like, I think I messed up, I think I should have listened, I think that, and then you stay on and on and on as the family gets bigger, right? As the economy becomes more important, uh, because bills are getting higher and the kids are growing up, and but there's a point. I remember, Miss Marlene, we knew this couple, friend of ours, probably about 10 years older than we were, my ex-husband and I.
Hmm.
And their relationship, they were always talking, laughing, having fun. It didn't matter at what time of the day you showed up, where we were at. If they came to the house, they will always be very happy and content, and always talking and doing things for each other. And I would look at them and say, like, my marriage is not, compare it, right? My marriage is not like that. Or how come their marriage got to that point? I like, you know what I mean? Like, how did they do that? But I never stopped to think that they already had that type of relationship. They already had, the love and the understanding, and they picked the right person.
That's
And
what I'm
so I
saying.
will always say, like, I wish I could have that. I wish, I could have that kind of kinship with this person, or that kind of, but I couldn't, certain topics I couldn't say anything because it will create drama, because either I was too lenient or too soft or too kind or too whatever, or I wasn't doing enough, right? So I couldn't go to certain areas. So I what I did is I stopped talking. I stopped seeking that, that partner that I could talk to, I could say anything to, and I will feel, comforted or whatever. I never did that because I will get shut down with, one word, two words, and I will feel bad and say, and I will tell myself, dummy, why did you go again? Like, why did you ask this? Or why did you say that? So because I had to watch what I said, I stopped talking or asking for that, for conversation. But this couple was so beautiful. They're still together and they've been together for like 50 plus years and they get
Wow.
along so well. Yeah. And they're happy. And the kids are very, very good kids. They're very happy. They have a beautiful relationship. And sometimes we get blinded, right? We see friends that have that, we see family members that have that. And we think that with the person we're with, we're going to have that.
Exactly. Yeah. And Miss Nexie, I have to highlight this in talking about he's not that into you or she's not that into you, or this can also apply to friendships and relatives and
Hmm.
people on social media. Like, this is a wide, it's a wide us um what you call it, it's wide open with who it can be. It's not just directly linked with a romantic relationship, even though that's what's usually we're talking about. But there's a lot of people who are just not into you. They're not here for you. They're not there to support you. They're only here to use you, manipulate you, or waste your time, or have you help them. A lot of different things. And that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we kind of talked about this before, where you have that friend that can never do anything. Like every time you invite them, they're busy. They can't. I'll get you next time, right? We'll try next week
Yeah.
and see. And then you see them out and about with other friends, but they're never available for you. I think we all have that. And it is in friendship too. When you're so into a friend, meaning you want to be their best friend, you want to be, able to help them do whatever you can because that's who you are as a friend, but they do not return that favor. They're
Yep.
not really your friend, kind of.
Yep. And I gotta read what always that girl said. Here's my opinion, here's my thoughts, and my opinion, and only mine, and no reflection of this channel. Don't have me there for you, and you're inadvertently financing your abuser, and you lied to the abuser.
Hmm.
That's some stuff right there. And on this channel, we talk about toxicity and abuse and all of that stuff. So that's one of those things, when you are in a toxic relationship, if you're not careful, you become toxic in order to be in that relationship. Like the things that you would do, lying to people, supporting their addictions and habits, excusing their behaviors, all because you are blind, because you're so um under their whatever, their power and their control, that you cannot see what they're doing. But for me, Miss Nexie, I can say honestly, it wasn't until I wanted to. I can't even lie and say I didn't see red flags. I didn't see the bad qualities in this person, but it was just because I didn't want to be wronged. Like people, like you said,
Hmm.
are you sure you want to be with them? Are you sure they're a good person? And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I was trying to prove that they were a good person and they
That
were
you
good
make the
for
right
me.
decision. Mm-hmm. That you
Decision,
make
and
the
it's a
right
good
decision.
decision.
Yep. You know, Miss Marlene, it's funny because I um I think that deep inside I probably did the same thing, right? With, my ex-husband, with our relationship. Regardless of what happened between us or what didn't happen between us, I wouldn't talk, bad about him. I will keep everything that went on in our household, and when my sisters or my brothers will see me, how's everything? Oh, everything is amazing, great, and this and that. And he's such a good dad, and he's such a good this, and such a good husband. And that was a lie. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a lie. It wasn't the real thing. I was the one getting up in the middle of the night for the kiddos. I was the one walking the room when they didn't feel good. I was the one getting up after, a sleepless night with probably 1, 2 hours of sleep and going to work and dropping them up and picking them up. But I will say, oh, amazing, wonderful. He's such a good dad. He's always there for the kids and he's so helpful to me. But then again, you don't want them to think that they were right, you were wrong. But also, you
Hmm.
don't want to create, you don't want them to not be friends. Even if your relationship doesn't work out, you still don't want them to hold grudges against them because they're not behaving with the person that, they love, our family members or friends.
Yeah.
So you hide these things. And I think that I was doing it that deep inside for the same reason as you were. I don't want to be I don't want them to know that they were right and I was wrong.
Yep.
And I don't want to prove to them that I made a huge mistake when everybody, like 3 or 4 people in my family, will say, are you sure? They will ask me, are you sure? They will say, you don't need to do this. You can cancel everything. It's no big deal. And no, 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 no. I'm sure, I'm happy, blah, blah. But I never asked, like, why do you think this way? I never ask, like, what is it? Do you see something I don't see? I never asked that. And I think it's because I was afraid of the answer.
Oh,
And it's
Miss
why I never
Nixie, for
ask.
me, I can say for me, if I'm gonna be real and honest and transparent, like I'm trying my best to do, like I always try my best to be honest. And I can say for me, even if they had told me they're this, they're that, I would not have listened because I said I'm in control. This is my
Hmm.
life. Nobody's
Hmm.
gonna tell me what to do. I wasn't humble at that time. I'm
No,
just
I
being
didn't
real.
even ask. No, I didn't even ask. And I think that is probably because, again, not just one person, you know, 3 to 4, maybe more. I don't know. But I never asked, why do you think like that? Like, I just said, oh, no, no, no. I know he's quiet and this and that, but he's so good. He's so nice. I never asked, like, why do you feel that way? Or what it is giving you like a weird vibe or something? Like, why? I never asked that question. So weird.
Yeah. But like you said, Miss Nixie, when you're in that space, you know that you're with a bad man or you know you're with a bad woman, right? You know that, but it's you don't want anybody to convince you. You
Hmm.
have that, you know how like you have that feeling, that inkling, like that bad feeling like you should not go through with this. You
Hmm.
should not. And all the red flags have been going off and so many wrong things have happened throughout the relationship, and you just move forward because if you were like me, you well, what they used to say, Miss Nexie, a long time ago, a piece of a man is better than no man.
Hmm. Yep.
And
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
something that's not a good thing, or saying a piece of a woman is better than no woman at all. No, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, but in that moment, you don't see that. And that's the thing. I now that I've been alone for so long, and happily so, because I love I love my life. But now that I am, on the other side of things, not in love with anyone and on my own, I see it even more. And I have asked, like, why are you so nice to her? You're always taking care of her, but I don't see her returning that, the way that you are, the kindness or that love the same way. And I've heard, well, she's different. She loves me in a different way. She's so much more kind to me when we're alone. And I'm thinking that is not a good thing. Like, why she should be more kind to you in front of people, right? So that, but why only when you guys are alone? Like, then I get more questions in this little crazy head of mine. Like, okay, why? Is she like trying to, doesn't like that you come around family or friends, or you know what I mean? Like, I had a friend whose husband will drop off like, get the kids up in the morning, feed them breakfast, drop them off at school, go to work, get off for lunch at 2 o'clock so that he could go drive, pick up the kids, take them home to the sitter, and then come back to work. So his entire, like, and mind you, Miss Marlene, my friend didn't work. She just stayed home.
Mm.
Yeah, and she had a babysitter too, and they had 3 kids. But the thing is, they have 3 kids. I'm sorry, they're old already, but they finally they got divorced, and we saw it coming. Just not from what we thought it was going to be our guy friend, because he's our friend for a long time. He's not a best friend, but he's a good friend, a college friend. And we thought he was going to be the one starting that procedure one day, but it was her. So, but anyway, he will do all this, and she would just sit home all day doing, whatever, her hair, her nails, whatever. And she still had a sitter so that, you know, the sitter could take care of the kids after they got out of school. And
Wow.
a good guy, Miss Marlene, a very good guy. And he, eventually he owns his own business, and that's what he was doing, working towards this. And he owned his own business like probably 4 years into the marriage. And he was a good man. And she still cheated on him, not one, but several times. And she was the one who petitioned a divorce.
Wow.
And he's remarried now to a wonderful girl, but we always question him, like, why do you do all this? And he will say, well, they're my children, I love my kids, I don't want them to go through anything. And I'm like, yeah, but you do it for her, right? Why are you helping her so much? Why are you so kind to her when she's not, returning that? She's not kind. She didn't cook, she didn't clean, nothing, Miss Marlene. She was just at home. and
Wow.
and he will say, I'm doing it for my kids.
As they would call it back in the day, she was a bump on the log.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, I never understood. Like, I'll be mad and say, but you're doing so much. But then I will look at my life and say, well, I'm doing the same thing. My weekends, I'm over here with the kids, taking them to tournaments. And then during the week, I will leave work and drive straight home because they had, training and this and that, or, after school programs. And I was the one doing all that. And so there was a point where I said, I shouldn't ask because I'm doing the same thing for this other person, right? Or with this other person.
Right.
But I never did understand that. Like, but again, we love in different ways. We see it's like blinders. I think we have blinders when we only see that one kind thing that they do for us and interpret it the wrong way. And that's how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I can say, Miss Nexie, for a long time, the things that I would put up with in the relationship, it was only because I didn't feel good about myself. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when
Yep.
you don't love yourself, when you don't know that you deserve better, that you don't have to stay, and you're just always, you want to have somebody on your arm, you want to be able to say you're in a relationship, but while you're in that relationship, you're very angry and miserable. You're being controlled. It's like, and even besides that, like, there's no elevation. Like, the person
Mm-hmm.
that you met all that long time ago, it's the same things. They haven't done anything. They haven't learned anything. They're not they're not goal oriented. And I think that was the thing with me, Miss Nexie, is that there was no goals. There was nothing like, don't you want to do something with your life? And they were like, nope, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Yeah, they were
I was like, you're
happy staying where they
chilling.
were at. They were happy with them. They were happy at the moment, right? They were happy with what they, as far as they have gotten. For them, that was more than enough, or for him, that was more than enough. I
Wow.
mean, for your ex, right? That was probably
Yeah.
more than enough to where he was at. Like there was no, oh, I want to be, vice president, or I want to have my own thing. Nothing like that. So they're content with whatever accomplishments they have. And I think again, Miss Marlene, for me it was different. It was different. It was the communication part. It was very difficult because the ideas we had, that person lacked empathy. He lacked um human kindness. It was weird. It was just, and I am all about helping people, right? I'm all about what can I do for you? How can I help you? If especially if you're family, and or friends that are considered family, as I said before. But this person is he wasn't about that. To this day, he's still not about that. To the point that if you see someone struggling and going through something, regardless of why, the reason why, he would say like, well, he's there because he wants to, right? Not because, oh, let's help, let's see what's going on. Oh, poor thing. No, no, no. You're there because you want to. Because if you didn't want to be there, you wouldn't be there. And I'm like, some people cannot help it. Everybody can help. I'm like, okay, whatever. So there was no empathy for anyone, no sympathy, no nothing, no human kindness whatsoever. And
Yeah.
I'm not like that. So, we used to clash. And I think that if you're someone that likes to help and likes to give, all you got to people, not all you got, but, a good chunk of you, and you want to help humanity, and you want to, serve, and you want to do all kinds of things, someone that lacks that the DNA doesn't have that, it kills the romance, it kills the
Hmm.
potential love that you could have had or that you had for that person.
Yeah. I call those individuals, people who are emotionally bankrupt.
Mhm. Yep.
Hmm. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
And
definitely
and
a
it goes through
chapter in one of
friendships
my
too, Miss
books.
Marlene.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's all
What was it?
relationships, Miss Nexie. It's all relationships. If somebody does not know how to be supportive of what you need emotionally, and I think that was another one of many reasons why that relationship of mine's ended, is because I'm not always gonna. I just got so sick of trying to teach someone how to be compassionate.
Hmm.
It's like everything that was about them was a big deal. But anything that was about me was like, oh, you're talking about that again, or that's stupid.
Hmm.
Any goals I had, anything I was trying to empower myself, it was like, oh, well, that's dumb, or that's stupid. That won't work out. It was always, everything I wanted to do was always like negative thumbs down. That won't work. That's stupid. Basically trying to get in my head that that's impossible for me. You
There was
can't
no
do that.
support,
Why are you going
no
to try to
emotional
do
support.
that? You're just wasting your time. And after a while, it was like, I had to take my power back and say, that's not true. I can't do it. And you're in the way of me getting to it.
Yep, that actually happens. You know, for me, Miss Marlene, I think that it took a long time because there were things that we were trying to achieve before we call it quits, I guess. And
Hmm.
it happened sooner than I wanted to because of what happened, right? But I think that I was already out of love, I guess you can say that. But
Yeah.
it's more, I read something that always said that some people rather be right than happy.
Yes.
And I think that's what happened to me. Like I stood there for longer than I should have. And I probably would have stayed there till the end because, again, you don't want to prove those people right. You want to prove them wrong, even
Hmm.
if you know they were right. But
That
I
was
feel
my
that
issue.
exactly, exactly. I feel that a lot of us, do that sometimes, even on friendship, Miss Marlene. There
Yes.
are friends that I've had my siblings say, why are you friends with this person? Like, why? This person is not good for you. This person is not a good friend. She will hurt you one day, or that's not a good friend. But you don't listen because to you this person is everything.
Yes. But
This
you know
person
what,
can
Miss
do
Nexie?
no wrong.
But
Hmm.
honestly, Miss Nexie, is I think in all of these situations that most individuals are going by the words that people are saying. They'll be
Hmm.
love bombing you or playing with your mind. Oh, don't listen to them. You know I'm a good person, or I'm just going through that. You know I could do this. It's like they excuse your behavior, and they play a lot of mind games. And then you start to believe it because you hear it enough. Oh, they
Yeah.
are going through, and then, oh, when this happened and I got laid off, but they're not also saying, yeah, you got laid off like 2 years ago, or
Mhm.
you've been talking about whatever they have anger issues, but you haven't done anything to stop the anger issues. You haven't been to counseling. You haven't been reading books. You haven't joined the gym to expel that anger. But it's like,
Mhm.
but they would rather expel that anger onto you. So you become the target of their wrath. You become
Mhm.
the reason why. Oh, and it's because of you I didn't go to school. It's like, why are you getting mad at me? They come at you with their mommy issues, their daddy issues, their whatever that they didn't get in their life, and they're upset with you because of it. So instead of them taking ownership and accountability for what they did, what they allowed, and some of the trauma that they experienced, instead of working on that, they would rather push that to the background and take out their anger or manipulation, or even just don't do anything. They just give up and throw their hands up in the air, and then they expect for you to stay with them with their low vibrational self.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
staying with no
back
low
to
vibrational person at all.
yeah, but this is like I have had friends, and I again, I'm going back to that to the friendships. I have had friends that I have supported, and I mean money wise, right? I have literally supported them for 3 to 4 months, one half a year, helping with half the rent because I can't find a new job. I got kicked out, and I'm looking for a job, but can you please help me and I'll pay you back? And as a friend, right, you go to like, okay, let me help them. Even if people tell you this person is just using you, this person is not going to be a good friend, or is not a good friend, you just haven't seen it yet. but you don't allow your mind to go there, right? And or she's not going to do that to me in your head. And I have had friends that the minute they get a new job, Miss Marlene, and they are established, okay, they're established financially, excuses come up on, like, when are you going to pay me? Oh my God, I'm so behind on this, but I promise, I'll pay you back everything that I borrow, everything that you have given me. And at the end, they end the friendship so that they don't have to pay you back. And it's years
Yep.
and years and years of friendship. It's not just a year or two, it's many years. And I've had a couple of friends like that I have done everything I can for them. Or I have had friends that every time we go out somewhere, I pay and I'll give it back to you, I swear, because I forgot my wallet, right? Or I forgot my
Hmm.
ATM card. I brought my wallet, but I forgot it at home. And you always, don't worry about it. I got this. Don't worry about it. I got this. And you're always paying for everything that you guys do together, because when it's time for this person to pay for you, they can't make it.
And
Right, they
oh,
can't, I mean.
Miss Nexie, and I'm gonna tell you what was the final straw for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that you and probably everybody in this chat will get angry. And I'm getting myself, my
Oh.
blood, my heart is beating really fast right now thinking about it. What was the final straw for me was when my father passed away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no sympathy, there was no support, there was no how can I help you. There was because we're all different. Not everybody is going to be
Mm-hmm.
the one to be emotionally supportive, but you need to be some kind of supportive. If you can't be emotionally supportive, you need to be financially supportive or spiritually supportive, but you need to be supportive. And I got
Mm-hmm.
nothing. It was like, oh, are when are you going to stop talking about your dad?
Oh my God.
It was like, and I
No,
was
he
just
didn't.
like, because like crying, it's like, oh, I can't stand when women cry all the time. I think that was like, okay, I'm out of
Oh.
here.
Oh my
You
God.
can't stand when a woman, it's not like Miss Nexie, it's not like I was sitting around crying because someone stole my
Even
bike.
if you were, even if that's your father, even if you were, right, crying every day, all day, that's your dad and that's your spouse. Oh my God, I'm mad now.
That,
Ugh,
Miss Nexie, that right there,
horrible.
I think that honestly, Miss Nexie, that broke my heart more than losing my dad.
Of course.
That that I feel like, because when you go through things, it's there's certain things in life you can't control. You can't
Mm-hmm.
control when people that you love will go, but the people that you're with, like you're in a romantic relationship, people who are your friends, people who claim to love you, but when you go through things and it's crickets.
Mm-hmm.
There's no phone calls, there's no showing up, there's no support, there's no nothing. Well, you should have called me. What? I have to call you? Well, I told you I'm
Yeah.
here for you if you need me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know, Miss Exley. I think I'm just a different person. And one thing that I had to learn through therapy is we have to stop expecting us from other people. And I think that was one of the things that shattered my heart for a long time, was I was always expecting, because I'm very empathetic and understanding and compassionate, I assumed that I was going to get that back. It's like I pour so much kindness and compassion into you. It's like the one time I'm asking for compassion from you and I don't get it. And for me that was like there's no coming back from that. You, all the apologies, all of the
Wow.
everything. Nope. You can't come back from that. Nope.
No, you can't. You can't. Wow, that is a horrible. Like, I don't even have words for that, Miss Marlene. My
Yeah.
heart is broken. Like, and I'm mad because
Yeah.
how dare you? Like, that's her dad. You know what I mean? Like, that's your father. That's her parent. How dare you say,
Yeah.
when are you
It's
gonna be done? Or, oh my God, here you go
yeah. It's
again.
like
Gee.
then it was like, oh my God, here comes the waterworks.
Oh no, 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 no,
Yeah. So that was one of the things.
no.
And I'm the sort of person, Miss Nexie, when I stop talking, this is when you got to be scared. Because I'm the type of person when I stop talking, I am planning, I am going to bring physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual damage to you. And I mean
I
it.
believe you. I believe you, Miss Marlene. I believes you.
So
I know you will.
when I stop talking, mm-mm, it's never good. When I don't want to talk, it's not that I'm being petty. When I stop talking, it's because you've pushed past what where I'm gonna go. You've exceeded where
Hmm.
I have left behind. Yeah.
Yep.
There's certain things
And
I do agree you should talk about, but when you go way past that you've stepped past the danger zone, there's nothing
hmm
more to talk about.
but they say like past the way of no, the point of no return, right? Kind of
Mhm.
like that. Like you cannot come back from that. And sometimes because again, you give you care for people, your love, and you try to hold on to good friends or according to you a good partner or whatever. Sometimes you're blindsided by discovering their true who they truly are. And it happened to me with a friend. I She didn't know I was coming, and I went we were gonna get together in my other friend's house, and my friend started like kind of talking to her about something that we were preparing for at work or something like that. And she started talking ish about me, Miss Marlene.
Oh
Horrible,
no.
horrible things. And I was behind her, and my mouth was open. My tears, I didn't even realize they were rolling out of my eyes because she was saying, and this is the one that I'm telling you that I helped so much with her rent and this and food. I will bring her food. I will help her until she got a new job. This is that person. She was telling her how stingy I was because the last time we went out to eat, I made her pay for mine too, like my plate too. And she's like, I can't believe she's that type of person. I mean, I knew that, but, and she's talking all this smack about me. And I'm by the door, like my friend is looking at me like wide eye, my other friend, our other friend. And because she kept on talking, my friend couldn't, I don't know if it was shock or whatever, but she couldn't interrupt her, like to say for life. And I was
What?
just like, unbelievable. Yeah, I just couldn't. I was just crying, and then my friend's like, "Oh, Nexie, you're here." And when she turned around, she was just like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "I can't do this," and I left my friend's house. We are gonna have a little gathering, and I left. I was like, "I can't do this." And she would try to call me, apologize, and this and that, and I was like, no, I didn't know you felt like that about me. If I would have, I would have never, insisted on having you in my life or having our friendship. But it was so painful because people did, like my sisters were like, "That's your friend?" Like, "Yeah, she's my friend. She's really nice." Okay, that's what my sisters will say. Okay, you say so.
Yeah, like if you say so.
Hmm. Yep, my sister,
It's
my older sister, she will always do that. If that's your friend, you sure? Yes, you know her. We've been friends forever. She's like, okay, if you say so.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that we don't see how toxic and manipulative they are until you hit a ceiling, or until they hit a nerve, until someone has
Mm-hmm.
done some, until they have gone past the point of no return.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, Miss Marlene. Exactly. And we're not saying that everybody is like, or that we're best perfect friends. No, we have made our mistakes. I have made mistakes and I have
Hmm.
paid dearly for it because I've lost friends through sometimes things that they were up to me. I could have avoided it. I could have said something. I could have voiced it. I could have brought it up, but I didn't. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. So it was because of me, right? Or because I wasn't calling. And, every 2 to 3 months I will call. And because I was at school or at work, I was always have an excuse. So I wasn't being the greatest of friends to certain friends and a friend to certain friends. So I understand that those relationships die because of me. I was at fault. It wasn't their fault, right? It was my fault for not, trying to stay connected or be a better friend. But when
That's
people
it.
tell you or ask you, is that your friend? And are you sure you want to be with that person? Like, are you sure you want to marry them? When they say things like that to you, when they meet your partner or whatever, listen, ask the reason why they're asking you that, because it can save you a lot of heartache and headaches later on. If we would have just listened or asked that weird question or the uncomfortable question of why they were saying that, or why do you think it's not a good match for me, or like why, the why, I think that it would have spared me, a lot of heartache, a lot of anger, a lot of things.
Wow. Miss Nexie, this is something that I have to say. And
Mm-hmm.
hear me, like, I am a very open person. I'm not the type of person who has, what do you call it? But what is this like? I do have a lot of expectations, but I don't think my expectations are unreasonable. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? I feel
Yeah, yeah,
like
I understand.
it's like, I'm not gonna say, oh, I don't have any standards, because that would be a lie. There's a lot of things that I know that I deserve because I love myself. When you're in that space of, when you finally come to the space of, I love myself, I am independent, I can have my own, um, basically, that you're not dependent on other people to carry on for your day-to-day life. The people who are in your life are, they're an addition. They're, you know, it's nice. It's the bonus. It's the icing on the cake. It's the gravy. It's all those things, but it's not necessary. Their relationships are not necessary for your happiness or your peace. And that's one of the things that I had to go through. And I think sometimes it's the reason why, when you get hurt so badly, and I'm not going to talk about on this channel. Maybe I'll talk about on my other channel, where I talk about, abuse and stuff. But there were some things that happened to me that, um, I do want to talk about it on that channel. But it's a lot of things that ladies, even men, go through toxic relationships because of the shame. They're embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
um it's gone on for so long, and now you're like, now what do I do? Like, especially those who, maybe you were in a relationship and you had children, you didn't go to college, you didn't get educated, you don't have money. It's all sorts of relationships out there, and it's so much things that can happen in relationships that can make you feel you've gone too far. There's no hope for me, and I want to tell you guys that just like I became empowered and made a decision to leave that toxic relationship, so can you.
Mhm. Y-
You
You know,
can.
um, yeah, you can, and that's the thing, Miss Marlene. Um, I discovered, because when you are when you think that you are in love with this person, or that you have a great friendship with this person, you have blinders on, right?
Hmm.
I discovered on our second year of marriage that I wasn't as important as I thought I was to this person. Oh, as the topic says, right? It wasn't that into me.
Yes.
um as committed as I was to be his wife and take care of the home and whatever, right? That person wasn't like that. Like, he wasn't that committed to making it work, and doing other things. But the one thing I regret is that, when things didn't work out for me, they didn't make me feel loved or appreciated, or okay or good to be in the marriage or whatever. I didn't say anything. And again, we go back to the fact that, it's that thing of, oh, you want to talk about that again? Okay, let's do it. Hurry up, because I got things to do, right? And so I never spoke out on the things that hurted me, how uncomfortable it made me feel, that I couldn't talk about feelings with this person, or I couldn't
Mm.
talk about topics that mattered to me because it didn't matter to him. So it was going to be either like a fight, or screaming, whatever. I would just say, you know what, I'm not going to touch those topics with this person. So I became further and further, from the commitment I had. I started stepping away further and further and further as I could. And yeah, I was committed because we had, at this point, children and everything. But I wasn't as to, oh my God, if we break up and, I have nothing, I can't because of that. Because at that point, I was like, I don't care. If we break up, I'll do whatever I have to do to survive,
Yeah.
even though I had not gone through school yet, because I'm talking about, 5 years into our relationship. But I was sad because I never voiced it. I never said anything. And I think it got me more sad because I knew that even if I would have, let's say I had said something, voiced the whatever the way that I was feeling, I don't think it would have made a difference for that person. It would have been more like what they said to you. I mean, okay, here we go again. Okay, whatever, just stop crying, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we already talked about this. This is, whatever, whatever, whatever. So I think that I didn't voice anything because I probably deep inside of me knew that it was not going to make a difference. But I am regretful that I didn't, because I think that I bottled everything up, and it will hurt my feelings because I had no one to talk to as far as a partner, right? I didn't have a husband that will be understanding. I didn't have a husband that if I wanted to, let's say something happened back home, that I could say, you know what, I'm going to send you money, send you this, because it'll be like, why are you sending him money? You already did, didn't you? Or why can't they help themselves? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't invite
Wow.
people over because it will be, how many days are they staying? Like, why did you invite them? They couldn't find a hotel or something? No, they could, but I told them they could stay how many days? Two. Oh my God. Okay, I guess I have to put up with it. So I couldn't have anyone around me. I couldn't have a family or friendships comfortably around me because this person had no, again, um didn't wasn't into me as much as I was into him. He was not going to
Yeah.
make accommodations for whatever made him feel uncomfortable just so that I could be happy, because he didn't care.
Yeah. But that But Miss Nexie, that's the thing. Like you were saying, that they weren't emotionally supportive, you
Hmm.
know? They weren't supportive. They weren't
No, no.
good listeners. And it's like you were saying, you had to step back, and we do that to protect our heart, because
Yeah,
we already know that the
exactly.
relationship is, lack of a better word, that it's the relationship has been unalived. you know we know
Hmm.
that
Yep.
it's not going anywhere. We know that it's broken. We know that. But
Hmm.
we just, I don't know what it is. It's like you're waiting for a specific time. Like, I know mine was out. I have to make some money before I leave, or I have to do this. And I know some people will say, well, I have to do this. I have to stay around for the kids, or I don't want to start again, and I don't want to be into another relationship. It's so many reasons why people stay in a relationship with somebody who is not that into them. And I'm not telling anybody what to do. This is not that type of channel. Me and Miss Nexty, we just share our personal experiences and some experiences of the people that are in our lives. And hopefully some of it will help somebody. But I did want to say that it took me, okay, I was in this relationship for over 10 years. And it wasn't until I got to year 7 before I said, this is never going to get any better. This is never going to, and I don't mean that they were a bad person, but a lot of times, Miss Sexy, if I'm going to be real, we align ourselves with someone who is not what we need. And we think that one day they're going to grow up, and then they're going to change. Or one day they're going
Hmm.
to love you like you love them, or how you need to be loved, or be supportive or understanding, or whatever it is that you want. And you just come to the space where I know I'm never going to get that. So that's when I made that decision that it was time for me to go, because I was at the space where I was getting my education. I was dealing with grief. And the thing about grief is, grief causes you to face everything, every situation in your life. And
Hmm.
because of that, then I was like, I got all of this stuff over here. Like, why am I in this relationship? Like, what are we doing? And that is what caused me to walk away
To open
and to
your
close
eyes,
that
yeah, and
door.
to open your eyes and say, exactly, exactly. And that's, again, we go through life in relationships, out of fear, out of commitment, out of I'm used to this, out of, oh man, look outside, there's nothing out there for me, right? We go through life in relationships like this because of fear, of the unknown. I think is most often than not. But for me, Miss Marlene, again, I was with this person for 22 years. So for me, year 2 or 3 was probably the last year that I had that fantasy of the perfect house wife, the perfect this, the perfect marriage, and we're gonna have so much fun. I think year 3 it was already gone. It was bitten out of me, right? But
Yes.
the sad part of staying with someone like that, Miss Marlene, is that since you have to be doing everything yourself, and sometimes not in secrecy, but because there's no communication, because you know what's going to happen if you say something, you do a lot of things for family and friends, without sharing, right? Without um announcing what's going on, without any support. You do it on your own. Like, I'm gonna help this person,
Yeah.
our family member, because they need me, because I'm not gonna talk to him because I know what he's gonna say. So let's not count on that person, because I know what's gonna happen if I say something. So as years went by, I will find myself answering this question very often. After probably like 10, 15 years of me being like this, why aren't you like, why didn't you ask me? Or like, why wasn't I privy to all this? And, I could have helped, or maybe if you would have told me, and I had to answer that, you told me not to bother you with things that were not of your concern. You said that, if people were having a hard time, not that didn't have enough money, whatever, whatever, that was because their mistakes, not yours. And that you didn't like anyone to come and bother you for things that they could fix themselves. So I don't want to go through this. I don't want to be explaining to you the reason why we have to do this. And so I do it without counting on you because I've never had the ability or the inkling to count on you anymore. So I can't go back. Like I can't. Well, I could have helped you. Would have you? Like you can help now. That's your cousin, right? If you want to help, go ahead. I mean, you already did it, but I wish you would have told me why. Well, exactly. You don't even know why. So whatever it is that could have been, could have happened. I could have told you whatever. Don't even go there. I would tell them, don't, because you make me who I am now by pushing me away, by telling me I don't want to hear it, by telling me it's not my business, by telling me people are who they are, and why are they bothering me. I don't want to help anyone that can help themselves. So by being like that, it's why I am like this now. I do everything on my own because even for kids tournaments, like, why didn't you tell me I had Saturday off? Yeah, when have you come? Well, I could have gone now. Like, why don't you ask the kids if they had any tournaments or if they had any practice or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, so I started doing things on my own, Miss Marlene, and everything, because I learned at that point that that person that I probably wasn't the person that he probably wanted to marry. I don't know. It felt that way, right? But,
Yeah.
I started doing everything on my own and, just not counting on him for anything. So by the time, the marriage ended, I was already alone for many, many years, even though I was living with that person. But I was already on my own. So I wasn't scared. I was ready. I was actually very thrilled.
Yeah. Miss Nexie, you know what I have to say in response to that is that we're all different. We all go through
Hmm.
different situations and things like that, and it hurts. It hurts when you're in a relationship with someone and they don't give you the time you need, the emotional support, the mental support, the financial support, whatever it is that they're lacking that you need. It's very hurtful. But also, like I said, I'm feeling froggy today, so I'm just going to put all the cards on the table for me. For me, what was the nail in the coffin is they were also a cheater.
Oh, yep. That would do it for me.
So that's there's a lot, it's a lot of
Wow.
things, it's a lot of things, Miss Nexie, that are like, I don't like that so much, but you give people grace, and you say
Hmm.
they're human and they make mistakes, but when it's things like being argumentative, not emotionally supportive, not encouraging you to experience personal growth. When you're in a relationship and they are sabotaging your growth, actually, you are stuck and you're miserable, and they're not trying to make you be anything other than miserable, and they antagonize you, and uh, it's like you're already going through enough, and then you have them in your ear like, oh, You're always this, you're always that. And this, I can understand, honestly, Miss Nexie, the reason why people are on Snapped. I say that almost every day. I know why people get on that show,
Okay.
Snapped and 48 Hours and Cops. I know why.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes. I say the same thing.
listen, Miss Nexie, because I always say you don't know what a person is going through. Just because a person is nice or they're quiet, they're kind, they've been supportive, everybody has a breaking point. And when a person gets to the point where they have been holding things inside and one day they just explode because of something that you have done, or they find out something like the last lie they told or the last thing that they've done to, hurt you or be non-supportive or judgmental or lie to you or do some gaslighting and all of those things. One day you just say, this is it, and you blow your top. You literally will
Hmm.
blow your top because you can't just keep being used, and like this topic says, they're just not that into you. So you can go through that whole cycle of, you can be a good friend to them, you can love them, you can support them financially, you can be, the best um, mother or father to their kids. You can do everything that you're supposed to do in the relationship. But if that person isn't a person that you're aligned with, if there's no accountability on their part, if they don't respect your boundaries, if they're not working towards their own goals in life and find a way to meet you in the middle and say, these are my goals, those are your goals over there. Now we're going to come together. And how can I support you for your goals? And when you don't have that, that's when you know that it's time for you to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it takes something huge. Like, like you said, like cheating or maybe, something else, something more, less damaging, but something that just hits you in the right spot that you say, I'm done. But cheating is one of the things I will not forgive. I think that I can work with anything else, right? We can go to counseling, we can do this, we can do that, we can try to mend our relationship one way or another. But once that person cheats on you, I think that's the end of your relationship. Whether you want to see it or not, it's up to you, right? But for me, the minute that my spouse gets into with somebody else, whether it's emotional, cheating, or any type of cheating, it doesn't matter, because the minute they do that, that means they don't love you anymore. Because someone that loves you and that is into you doesn't do things like that to you.
Yep.
They don't have eyes for anybody. And I'm not saying they don't look at a pretty girl and they say, man, or we don't look at a good looking guy and say, oh my God. No, we do. What I'm saying is they cannot go there with anybody because they are into you and they love you. They care for you. But when
Hmm.
they step over and they cross that line of disrespect and being with somebody else, that means that relationship is over.
Hmm.
The trust, the loyalty, everything, it's done and over with. So at that point, there's no, oh, forgive me, I will never do it again. To me, you won't, because we're getting divorced, right? But try not to do it again to the
Yeah.
next person that comes into your life. But
Yep.
I will not
I-
forgive that, because that is just the ultimate betrayal.
yeah.
And I
I'm
don't want
in
to be in
agreement.
snap.
I'm in agreement with that one, Miss Nexie. It's a lot of things. Like, I'm not that type of person that is, especially in a romantic relationship. I I'm I'm, willing to let a person be themselves as long as they got their own things going on. I am not the sort of woman who wants somebody under me all the time. I cannot stand that. I have to have my own space. I got my own stuff going on. I don't want somebody checking on me 30 times a day. I can't stand that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, give me my space to breathe. Of course, morning check in, night check in, maybe 3 times a day. But when there's like 30 to 50 calls per day, mm,
Yeah, it's weird.
that's weird to me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's weird.
And I hope that that doesn't offend somebody. If that's your thing, then by all means,
Nope.
me and Miss Dexy are not telling you. If that's what you need, then that's what you need. We're all different people. But I'm just speaking
Mm-hmm.
of
Yes, we
myself.
are.
I'm a person that I like my own time. I
And
like to
of
have
Miss
time with
Nexie
my
because
friends and my business. And yeah.
Miss Marlene.
Hmm.
Again, I'm in a relationship, and this is what a lot of people forget once they get married or they get into a serious relationship, is that 50% of you still belongs to you, and the other 50 belongs to your spouse. Same goes for that person or your spouse, right?
Hmm.
50% is their freedom, and 50% you put in the relationship. But I've seen a lot of people who are in so immersed in that relationship, and so I guess I don't want to say naive. No, I don't want to say that. They probably insecure. I could say that they're so insecure that
Yes,
they
you
start
can
pushing
say that.
everybody away. They start pushing your friend. They start pushing your friendships away. They're 100% with the spouse. They don't go out with you anymore. And I'm not that type of person. Okay, I'm not, and I do not expect my significant other, my partner, my husband, or whoever, if I had one, or when I had one, I didn't like, and he knew this because we weren't like that. Again, I like my space too. I'll call you when I do, right? Text me if I don't answer right away. Don't worry about it because I'm busy. And same went for me towards him because sometimes he was busy. So we understood that. But I have been with people that the minute they get into that relationship, they change so much. They don't, they text that person, call that person, answer the phone call right away. It's like, again, an insecurity. Like if they're going to lose that person, if they don't, if they say, I don't like being like this, like I get it, you love me and everything, but I really don't like to be texting or calling every 5 minutes. They cannot say that to their partner because they're insecure, they're afraid. But my ex-husband, he knew, right? If I called you, I will say, he will be like, oh my God, did something happen? Is there an emergency? Because that was how often I will call. Like I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like that. So I will try to tell these people, like, I don't understand why, but if you're gonna go out with me, whatever, then turn off your phone, because you cannot even talk, you're so busy answering it, and it's weird, right? But I need my freedom as well. I need my space, and I understand that my partner needs their space too. They cannot be with us 24/7. That's not healthy. That's weird.
Yeah,
It's
I
weird.
agree. I agree, Miss Nixie. And that's one of the reasons why I say all the time, us sharing our stories, opening up. And I wanted to say in the chat, Wada is asking a lot of questions and sharing what he's going through. But this is a space where those who share what they want to share. Everybody doesn't have
Hmm.
to share everything. We
Hmm.
respect the boundaries and the privacy of one another. Those that want to share here, they do share. Some just sit in the background and listen. But it's a respectful
Hmm.
space. It's a growing space. It's a healing space. Some want to talk about things. Some want to listen. Some are probably here crying and in agreement and saying, oh, so many of these things have happened to me. But in all of
Hmm.
it, we are respectful.
Yeah, exactly, Miss Marlene. And this respect is not tolerated here. And again, right? We go to back to the that part of communication and of understanding that that person is not, you guys probably don't match together, you and I, with that with our partners, we didn't match. It took me a while to understand, Miss Marlene. And again, everybody does things their way. We're not here to criticize people or tell you what to do. We all do things our own way. On some of us, it takes us a minute to understand that that person is not our equal when it comes to um, feelings and communications and this and that. But we can let go sometimes because there's other things that we are pretty much, in tune in, right? But it takes a lot from you when, even though you're in tune on, sports or this or that, but if you cannot have a healthy communication with that person on any other topic than of the only thing you share together, then that eats you inside. It
Yes, it
grows
does.
a form of and Ms. Marina, I don't know if you went there, but it grows some sort of resentment towards the other person. You start resenting them that they cannot, you cannot talk to them, and you should be able to talk to them about certain things that relate to the family, to you, to whatever. But you start resenting the fact that you cannot go to them for this emotional need of yours. And with resentment, right, it comes that, you know a little bit of anger, and sometimes hatred, because I've seen people have hatred for the other person. But it comes with a lot of anger, and it kills other aspects of your relationship with that person. I i know that not everybody shares, their life story here, but we do not everything 100%, but we do go into things that were harmful, hurtful, traumatic, and painful for us. And that was one of, for me, Miss Marlene, the inability to be able to tell, my heart aches because this person is homeless, let's go there, right? And then have a response of, well, if he's homeless because he wants to, because if he doesn't want to be homeless, he wouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, you're like, are you kidding me? Like, do you have any idea why? Or like, are you in his shoes? Have you talked to them? Like, how do you know that it's because they want to be like that? Nobody wants to be like that. Like, it was weird because you
Exactly.
get those type of responses, and then once you get that resentment because you cannot talk to them, and that anger, whatever, then another side of you comes out that doesn't stay quiet anymore, that will tell him one or two things about how you feel about the way that they are, right? And that you hope that they never are in their place one day. You start speaking out more, but it's not the communication you were expecting, right? It's more of anger and resentment. So for me, now that we are, we've been separated for so long, but that we're legally now divorced, we have been able to talk a little bit more freely of certain things that bother me or bothered him. And we have apologized to one another if we hurt each other on certain things, right? But I was able to actually get it out of my system and say, I was very angry with you. You hurt me so much. And I don't understand why you did that to me or to the family or to us. And I also apologize because I stayed. And if he ever felt different, I said, I stayed in a relationship when I didn't love anymore. I didn't love you anymore. I wasn't, in to our relationship anymore. And he said, yeah, I felt it. I saw the changes you had. You know, a long time ago. And I apologized to him for that. I said, yeah, I should have been more honest and say we're done. Right? Let's leave it at this. Let's call it quits, whatever. And we probably would have not hurt each other as much as we did. Because the one thing I had to understand, Miss Marlene, is that, a relationship, and we had said this in our podcast before, is that a relationship, even though we always want to blame the other person, is of two people. So two make mistakes. Maybe one
Yeah.
by not voicing their uncomfortableness, or the other one for being so straight forward and mean, or the other one for being too caring, the other one for not being. But it's a relationship of two people, not just the one making mistakes. Both of us did. So once I was able to say all this to him, and I apologized for staying and, deceiving him that way. And he said, I felt it and everything, but, I loved you and I still do. He says, you're the mother of my kids. I forgive you. But I was happy in that relationship. I was very happy. And I'm sorry I messed it up. Right. I'm sorry I made the biggest mistake of my life. He said, but I loved you. So I'm like, okay, okay, I get it. So you didn't see the weirdness or you didn't feel any different. He's like, no, I was okay. Okay. Then if you were happy, then I'm
Wow.
okay with it. Yeah. If you were happy, then I'm okay. He said, no, I felt the difference. I saw that you didn't look at me the same way you did when we first got married. I saw you pulling away from me. Yeah, I saw that. He says, but I thought, the kids and she's busy with them, blah, blah, blah. Or, it's not her day. Probably she's not feeling well. I never, never put it together that it was because of something that I did, that I was doing. And that's what I'm saying. Communication is important because he didn't even know what he was doing wrong
Miss
because I didn't
Maxie,
say
do you
anything.
really believe that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because if you don't voice what you don't like or you like or how you feel more often, because at one time it doesn't hit, you have to continue to say, hey, I don't like when you dismiss me like that. Or I don't like, and one time I remember he said something about therapy and I rejected it. I said, no, there's no need. And so I do believe him. I do believe because there are many things that I could have bring up and he would have probably changed course, maybe not become the perfect husband, right? But maybe say, you know what, I got to be more empathetic when it comes to this, or I shouldn't say things like this in front of her, even if I think them. Or maybe I should be more involved with my kids, right? Maybe I should talk to them more. So if by me not voicing all of that, I do believe him that, he didn't make those changes because I never said anything.
Exactly. But I agree with you, Miss Maxie. But my thing about it, and I wasn't saying in a way of judgment or disrespect when I said, do you believe him? Because
Oh
sometimes
no, of course
they
not. I know that. I know
they
that.
will like people will ask questions, but they're really gaslighting. They ask a question that's leading, like trying to bait you into an argument or something, and they're not really there
Hmm.
to know how you feel or care about how you feel. They just are trying to say something. Sometimes they say some things to get on your good side so you'll continue to stay with them.
Oh no, no, I believe him, Miss Marlene, because this was about a year ago. Remember when we went to Yosemite that I told you we went
Oh
there, we had a great
yeah.
time. Because it was this time when we were openly talking about the mistakes we made, that, the things that I wanted to ask his forgiveness for, and I'm sorry if I wasn't a better thing, wife to you. So when I was talking to him, it was probably about a year ago. So I do believe him because he said, you should have said, you should have voiced it more, or you should have talked to me more. He goes, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. He goes, but I'm glad that we're having this conversation because, now I know where I'm failing, or where I went wrong. And I know that you are understanding too that it wasn't just me. And I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's why I'm saying I do believe him now. I probably would have not believed him before, Miss Marley, but I do
I
believe
don't know,
him
Miss
now.
Nexie. I'm still not there because I'm still in the phase where Like if I even see you, I'll want to pull out my switchblade. So
Snap,
I'm not there yet.
snap, snap, Miss Marlene's episode.
Yeah.
But I do believe, Miss Marlene, I do like snap because you know what? Sometimes we get very close to that. But by the grace of God, we don't go into that. We just reflect and put our blades away, Miss Marlene.
Well,
Away.
that well, Miss Nexie, and I say that because you have to know yourself. When you are
Yes.
in a relationship, sometimes for past the expiration date, you know what I mean? Like, you know that that relationship has ended a long time ago. When you stay past the expiration date, meaning you're not happy, it's a toxic environment, you're not supported, you don't feel loved there, it's just nothing. It's like, like a flatline relationship. When you get to that space and when you stay past that expiration date, that's when I believe is a very dangerous time because you will physically, emotionally, financially harm them.
Yeah. And again, Miss Marlene, think about this. My ex husband and I, we have been separated for 18 years, right? So
Mm,
when we had this conversation was our 18th anniversary of us being, separated and on our own. So it's different because I couldn't have, and I think I've said this before here too, Miss Marina. I could have not done this a couple of years ago. I could have not gone there with him or, reflect on the fact that, yeah, the relationship I messed up too. Or, I have to also accept that, I was at fault as well, because it's a relationship of two people. But I wasn't able to talk to him the way I did this time until last year. And again, it's been 18
hmm.
years,
Wow.
right? So I'm already at the cool off point where I'm like, it's okay. No big deal.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, but
Not you, Miss
you know
Marlene,
what,
not
Miss
you.
Next? You know what, Miss Nexie? I finally found out that when you are in a better space, looking in hindsight of the relationship, that it's not just you pointing your fingers at them and say, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this,
Hmm.
and that hurt me. And I am able to now put myself in front of the mirror and say, you did this, you allowed this, you didn't speak up, you were not forthcoming with whatever. It's those things that, yes, they may not be into you, but also a lot of times you start off relationships wrong. I can say for
Hmm.
sure, I know that I started off my romantic relationship wrong. And if you base your relationship on that, there is no, in my opinion, this is not Miss Nexie's, this is not anybody else's opinion here. This is mine. But I believe that when you don't have a romantic relationship and you don't have a sort of spiritual connection, I believe that your relationship is not going to be steady, because through the ebbs and flows of your life, in my opinion, if you don't have a similar a spiritual connection that will link you back together when hard times and brokenness comes around, if you don't have something to center you, that's when people separate. And I can say for me, I would never have another relationship where I did not have a spiritual connection, that we were on the same wavelength spiritually.
Hmm.
And that's just my opinion.
Well, and it's a very, very wise one, and very true, Miss Marlene, because you know how it says it takes a village to raise a child, whatever. But also, it takes a community to turn your marriage into a marriage. And I mean, your church, your pastor, the people that you go to church with, your church group, or whatever it is that you're into. But it needs to be pretty much level headed. You have to be at the same level, because if not, then you're working spiritually and this person is not even trying. So that connection, that by going to the church picnic, or so and so's birthday, that person is going to go with you, but not because you guys shared the love for this congregation or this da, da, da. It's going to go because he's your husband or your wife, and he's supposed to be there, but it's not going to have the same respect for these people and the same commitment to family and friends, and giving and everything that you have, because they're not where you're at, right? And that was my mistake too, because you know spiritually I'm very connected to my church and everything, and my community, but he never was. And I said, you know what, it doesn't matter, as long as I am okay, I'm connected, and I'm da, 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 it's going to be okay. But it's not okay. There's always
Yeah.
something missing. And is that, like you said, that spiritual connection, when that's missing, it's I don't know, the house feels different. It's not a home, it's just a house.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's my opinion, and everybody's different, and I respect the thoughts and beliefs of everybody, but I'm just speaking for myself, Marlene. That my thing is, if you have a romantic relationship and you're not spiritually connected, when life happens, illness, financial stuff, kids, problems, if you don't have something to draw you back to center, to balance, it's not going to work. And I know for sure, because I did not have a spiritual connection. They did their thing, I did mine, and I feel like that's a recipe for a disaster. That's my
It
opinion.
sure is. It sure is.
Yeah.
But here we are talking about
But
it,
here we are.
surviving it, enjoying our life now, and understanding that we're not going to make the same mistake twice.
Yep.
And that's something that should be taken into account, that by us talking about it and going through whatever our mistakes were, that we did or did not do, or our partners, whatever, we're going to go into a next relationship as an open book, with our wants and desires, not making the same mistake as sticking around just because we're already here, or I love him, and even though he doesn't do anything fun with me, when I come home he's really nice. Right? If you're someone that likes the outdoors and everything, and that person is more like, I like to stay cooped up, that also, right, those things can mess up a relationship. So we're wiser because we're taking into account our mistakes as well. And, noticing that we're not as perfect as we think we are. We all make mistakes, but owning up to that is what makes us be a better person for the next relationship.
Hmm. And I think that's what improves you as a human being, regardless of whatever happened with your romantic relationship or friendship or whoever was not into you. When you finally come to the realization of, I'm okay without them. I didn't need them, and also widening your the bandwidth, and saying, okay, this is what I settle for, not lowering your vibration, not living in the past, not making excuses, but taking ownership of what was, and then learning from that. And what did I do? What did I allow? And not repeating those cycles. I think that's so important, to not find another relationship just like that, or friendship, or whatever it is. Because if you don't, you're going to be in that sort of relationship over and over again.
Yeah, on a
And
spinning cycle. On a spinning
yeah,
cycle, Miss Marlene.
yep, repeating cycles. And I think another thing that I think I want to talk about, maybe on another topic, I don't know how to say it, but um, I've heard people say that they can be in a relationship that is an intimate free relationship. And I want to talk about that, like how can that work?
Whoa, 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 wait. Intimate as no bedroom intimate type
No
of thing.
bedroom activity.
No, oh, we can talk about it next week if you want. I don't want to say anything more because I'm like my jaw is dropped, like it's all the way down to my knees. So yeah, we're gonna talk
um
about it next week, Miss Marlene.
I got something to say. I got
Not
something to say about that. I
no,
got
Miss
something to say
Marlene.
about
Don't
that.
say it. Don't say it.
I want
Next
to say
week.
it
Don't say
so
it now, Miss Marlene.
bad.
No, no, and I know what you're going to say. And no, Miss Marlene, leave it for next week. Because if you say it, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh wow! You have no idea how my brain is just going. Like, there's so many questions I have on that to that person, or whoever said that to you. There's so many questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a
We
lot.
can't.
There's
We
a
can't go there
lot.
right
Yeah,
now.
there's a lot that we have to unpack when we do next week's stream. But I did want to say that, and yeah, I want to address that because
Oh yeah, I have questions.
realist was like, what? And I said I was speaking about wanting to put my hands around his throat and squeezing. You know, if you get to be in such a toxic relationship that you become toxic, and it got to
Hmm.
be the point where I started thinking about how I could bring physical harm to him.
It was time to go then.
Yeah. And yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah. No, no,
I
no, no. It's
I
time to go.
know
I'm glad.
I know when I got to that point, and I'm grateful that you know, I knew that I was crazy at this time because this is pre-therapy, Miss Nexie. So I was
Oh, okay,
I'm just
okay.
gonna say I was wild. Okay. And I had a mouth on me. So it wasn't good, because you can't have two people in a relationship where you're always snapping and they're snapping. That's mm, mm, it's, mm, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It,
you
yeah.
can't.
Yeah, because
No, you can't.
somebody's gonna somebody's going to wind up in a pine box or something. And I know what realist is talking about. There was something else. There's other layers to that conversation, realist. But YT limits as far how dark I can go. On just
Oh,
I can't
we
go that dark.
know.
Yeah.
There's times where your patience runs very, very low. And I think that you can go in your mind, I hope. Don't act up on it. But you can go really far when it comes to, when you're upset. Your mind can travel far, far, far away. And you sometimes feel like, oh, I just want to throw this cup at him, right? As long as you don't act on them, then that's fine. You can think all you want. Just don't do it.
Yeah, but Miss Nexie, when you start thinking about like at work or wherever you are, thinking about ways that how could I put them under the ground, that's
Yeah,
when
it's time for you
uh,
to go.
that's when my friend was like, "Oh my god, girl, what are you talking about?" Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have to be real. I'm real with you guys over here. But that's where I was in the relationship. Oh, Miss Nexie, that's so cute.
I had to. I
That's
had to
so
because
cute.
that's
Thank
me
you for
right
the
now.
gift. But honestly, Miss Nexie, when you're in a relationship that is that toxic, it's one of those things that they do so many things. It's like playing a lot of psychological games, not answering your phone calls, staying out late, just being disrespectful, won't clean up after them. It's just things, and it keeps and then they do something and you do something and they do something and you do something. That's not it. That's I'll just say it was not a mature relationship. They were immature. I was immature, and there are a lot of things that happened in that relationship that I made sure that I'm not going to repeat it because I worked on myself, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's
It,
where
it but
I'm going to leave that.
but you understand that, yeah, you understand that you were immature. You weren't the person you are today, which is a very good thing, right?
Yeah.
And you get that. And again, it takes a long time, and for you to be, work on yourself a lot to be in the right state of mind. Because for a woman to admit that she was wrong,
Hmm.
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
No, because it takes a lot, for us to say, yeah, it was my fault too, or I was wrong thinking that. But it's why you understand, Miss Marlene, and you probably, like when you were saying snap, and it's you understand it because you have been there, right? And
Hmm.
I love that show, by the way. I love that show. And I understand it too, because again, when you're in a relationship, it takes a lot out of you, a lot.
Yep. It ta-
And
it take. Oh, I'm
sometimes,
sorry, Miss Nexie.
oh, no, 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 no. Go ahead, Miss Marnie.
I was just gonna say that it takes so much out of you. I don't know anybody who's ever been in that sort of toxic relationship where you're so drained. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I felt like I was a wet noodle. That's what I told my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt. You're limp, you're lifeless. You don't have there's no like anything, no joy in your life. There's no peace. It's no happiness. I just felt like a wet noodle. I know that sounds
Mm-hmm.
crazy and weird and strange, but that's how I felt.
But it's
There's
true.
nothing in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
and again, it's what you felt, your
mhm,
feelings, and whether people like to want to accept them or not, it doesn't matter. It's how you felt that matters. And
mhm,
for me, there's a point that, um because there's a point of realization, right, that you get to, when you say, I have to, I have to get out of this relationship, or I have to leave this person because it's consuming me. It's taking everything I got. And
yeah.
when I noticed that I started snapping at other people, that I would be like, what do you want? Sometimes even to my children. It's when you say, you know what,
Mhm,
we have to do something about this because it's bothering me, and it's leaking to other. aspects of my life, not just on this person. And I think that that for me, once we went through the separation and everything, it was a lot. It was like there was a weight lifted off of me because I didn't have to be seeing him right every day. I didn't have to be around. I didn't have to talk to him every day. And now it was just more like work on me, desensitize from that, try to see if I can um feel better, if I can get out of bed with happiness now. Because in those relationships, Miss Marlene, I'm sure when you said you felt like a noodle, is because there's no energy for you. You get out of bed just to get out of bed because you have to go to work. You come home and you go to bed and take care of the kids, whatever. But there's nothing there. So you're drained from all the negative
Mm-hmm.
vibes and all the negativity that comes out of that person. For me, I felt very lonely, Miss Marlene, very lonely.
Mm.
Thank God I had my children, right? Thank God for that because I had my kids and I was entertained with them. And I think that that's what I did, Miss Marlene. And I wanted to say this earlier when I was saying that I should have voiced more the fact that, I didn't like certain things. When he said that, I was like, you know what? I started thinking because what I did instead of fighting, and because I'm not confrontational, I don't like that. Instead of going there and fighting for that, what I did is I immersed myself in my children, right? I Yeah, I'll talk to him whenever, but right now the kids need me for this. Yeah, maybe I should say this to him, but no, you know what? I got to take the shower for the kids, or I got to get them ready. Whatever. I got myself so wrapped up in their leaving, in daily living in life, that I didn't have room for my head to think about all these things. So I kind of like shielded myself from actually having those hard conversations behind my children. I'm too busy for that right now. I'll do it some other time. Oh yeah, I'll talk to him later. Or when the kids are not here anymore, or whatever. So I think that I used them as a barrier so that I didn't have to go there. I didn't have to confront. I didn't have to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to be a mature person and confront, whatever was bothering me, or not working on our marriage. And until we know what happened, I probably would have waited until they were out of the house, probably, to confront, all the things that were going on. But I used my kids, and going back in time, I'm like, I'm happy that I did that, because at least the kids didn't have to see a lot of arguments. They didn't have to go through a lot of, oh, my parents are arguing again, or they're mad, or this or that. They had a good childhood.
Yep. And Miss Nexie, since you're sharing some of yours, I'm going to share one thing that I did. Anytime something was happening in my relationship romantically, and it's a bad thing that I did, but I'm accountable for my things. They always say nobody can shame you for what you've done if you have already confronted it. But what I used to do is I used to put my friends or other people's opinions into my relationship, and that's a recipe for disaster. Um, there's
Hmm.
certain things that you don't do. There's lines that you don't cross. It's like getting opinions about your relationship from somebody who doesn't even have a relationship. It's like what am
Mm-hmm.
I even doing over here? And I think a lot of people do that. They insert their friends or their relatives or social media. They put too much people into the relationship instead of going to the person that you're with and saying, hey, let's talk about
Hmm.
this if it's something you can talk about, or let's work on us and things like that. Instead, people go to the outside and let their friends or their relatives in on their intimate relationship issues, which is
Hmm.
that's just toxic.
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a no
know it's
no.
a no-no, but then I didn't know because I don't know, in my mind, it was like, well, they won't talk to me about it, so I'll talk to everybody else. But what you wind up doing is you cause everybody on the outside to already have opinions about the person, and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't give them an opportunity to form their own thoughts about them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. For the most part, I didn't get anyone involved because, my sisters are back home. One of them is now, not the other one. And so they weren't here all the time. Like if my sisters were lived in this country, we probably would be in each other's house every day because that's how we are, but they weren't here, so they couldn't really see what was going on, right? They couldn't see the dynamic of what our marriage was. And so I could literally say, oh, it's going great, blah blah, and they will believe me because they weren't involved. My brothers, they live a little bit far away, but then boys are clueless when it comes to things like this. They don't know. They don't even notice their own. But anyway, so I didn't have anyone close enough to bring it up to my attention and say, hey, why are you letting this slide? Or why aren't you bringing, an end to this? Like, what's going on? Like, I didn't have anyone to confront me that way. So I let it go for so long, right? The toxicity, you know, the no communication, that I was literally like my kid said one day, Mom, you were a single parent because I was always with my kids going everywhere. And again, nobody brought that up. So I wasn't really ready to because nobody confronted me. So I was like, oh, cool. As long as it keeps on going, I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to put up with it. I don't have to deal with it. I just go whatever, just put up with it, go on with my life, and tomorrow's another day. But
Yeah.
that on itself, Miss Marlene, once you start realizing that it's not healthy, that it's not, there's nothing there for you, because that's the one thing that I had to realize, that there was nothing in my marriage for me anymore. And then I will
Mm.
think, like, what happens when the kids are gone? There's nothing here. Like, I cannot really say, oh my God, we get along so well and we're going to have the greatest retirement year. Like, I can't because I don't see them. Right, I didn't see myself there. So I had to, like, I have to blame myself, as I said before, because I should have said something, I should have done something, I should have not stayed in a relationship like that for so long.
Yeah. I like I was saying, Miss Nexie, you have to know when the relationship is done. It's ended. Like once the relationship is bankrupt, like you're not getting
Hmm.
anything from the relationship. It's toxic. It's run its course. So that's the time where you got to walk away and you got to leave because it's a very thin line. Like, and I mean it. It's a very thin line between love and hate because, like, I mean, I was literally crazy about him, and then it got to be Miss Nexie where I hated him.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it's very easy to go from I love you to I hate you to I want to you know what I mean. I want to 6 feet under the ground
Yes,
you.
red rum. Yeah, red rum, red rum, red rum. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not gonna go there, but I do understand. I do
Hmm.
understand it. Again, we're not saying every relationship is like this or every relationship that we will have is like this, but I do see relationships around me where the how can I put it, the person is so consumed by it that they lose friends, they don't go anywhere, they're always with their significant other, They don't, they don't visit friends anymore. They don't go to parties. They don't do anything. They're literally consumed with this person. And I see that and I'm thinking, you're going to resent this person one day because they either don't do it because the partner gets upset, they don't do it because the partner is insecure. And since he doesn't have friends, neither should she, right? Or they do it for whatever reason. But I'm in my head, I'm thinking one day you're going to resent this person and you're going to lose amazing friends because you allow someone to control who you were. And you may need these people one day, but they're not going to be there for you anymore because you weren't there for them while together with this person. I don't know. That's what I think, right? But I don't know. Some people care, some people don't. But I think for me, that's not healthy, Miss Marlene. When somebody is 20, like 24/7 with that person, you don't visit any friends, you don't talk to anyone, and you're only with your significant other, I don't think that's healthy.
Yep.
That's
That
unhealthy. That's and it's weird to me because I was the type of girl that, even though I was married, I would go out to lunch with my girlfriends. We'll take a weekend out of the year to go to Vegas and have fun. Nothing disrespectful in any way, but just, just to have fun. We will go and then, I will go every other month. We will go have dinner somewhere, lunch somewhere, and we will talk on the phone all the time. And I see these couples that they don't do anything with anybody else once they get into a relationship. And it's not, I, I think it's not healthy, but I might be wrong.
I don't know,
I
Miss
might be
Nixie.
wrong.
For me, I always say to each his or her own. As long as people are happy, some people that's all they need. Some people all they need is their partner, and other people need friendships and they need distance and things like that.
That will
And
suffocate me.
and neither neither is wrong. We're all different human beings. We all have different wants and needs, but the thing about it is that however we feel, we have to respect others boundaries. We have to respect that
Oh,
other
yeah.
people are different and they want different things, and that's okay. But my thing is, don't try to encroach on mine. And the same thing for them. I may not agree. I may think it's strange or weird, some things that people do in their relationship and friendships, but I always say, but don't bring that over here to me. um i want to say
Exactly.
I want to say
Exactly.
thank you always for the gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Welcome, gifted members.
Oh, welcome. I didn't even
Hmm.
see that. I'm
Yeah.
over here busy making me something to drink. I make myself a coffee. I was like, I want a coffee. I don't know
That's
why. It's too late already,
hilarious.
but anyway.
So I'm
Just
gonna
a
read
little
some of
coffee.
I want to read some of these comments. Metro says sometimes boundaries are needed to heal um, from the drama in a relationship. You can always check on friends and family in a good relationship. If you're not in a good relationship, I have had people that I've known that once they get into a relationship, they can't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying,
person
Miss
they're with
Marlene.
doesn't want them to talk to. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's that sort of
Mm-hmm.
environment. Why are they always trying to call you? And if you talk to them, they have to be there to listen to what you say.
I've seen it even work towards the parents. They want to keep the husband away from the mom, or the daughter away from the mom, whatever. They want to separate you. They don't want you to treat your parents the right way. Because I've seen that happen. I'm like, and you're going
Hmm.
along with this? Like, that's
Hmm.
your mother. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's your dad. And
I,
this
I, I,
this
I
and that's
think
what I'm saying.
I think in any healthy relationship, they're going to be like, go hang out with your friends. Or it's like, when's the last time
Hmm.
did you talk to your siblings or your parents in a healthy relationship? My opinion, Miss Nexie, if you're in a relationship and they're like, I don't want you talking to those people, I don't want you to be their friend. When for me, that's my opinion. I don't think that that is a good relationship in any side, friend, romantic, relatives. It's not good when people only want to have you for themselves. And I'm saying this while at the same time, I don't like to share my friends.
No, and this is what I mean, Miss Marley. When I told you that they don't talk to friends, they don't go out. I mean, someone that has been very friendly, someone that has had a group of people all the time, and then all of a sudden they get married, and the spouse wants to take everything. Like they're always together. They don't. This person doesn't visit their friends anymore. They don't hang out anymore. They don't go out on trips. Nothing is always with the partner, and I noticed that the partner is the one pushing everybody away, and the friends are telling you we don't like her or we don't like him, right?
Mm,
There's something that I don't agree, but if you're okay with it, whatever. But I've seen that happen, that they're so friendly, and then all of a sudden in this relationship they don't, all their friends are gone, and the only person that surrounds you is your significant other. I don't think that's healthy. I'm sorry. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But when your partner expects you to be only your everything, that is the most unhealthiest thing in the world to me. To me, not to Miss
mm-hmm,
Marlene, not to anybody else's opinion, to me, because you cannot be with one person 24/7 and
mm,
and 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 be okay. You need to have friends. You need to, even if it's on the phone or get together from time to time, you have to have that freedom. When someone restricts you like that, they don't love you, first of all.
mm-hmm.
They don't respect you, second of all, and they want to control you, third of all. Just saying. So
Yep.
that never will never work on me, ever, ever. My ex will be like, God, you're so friendly. That's who I am. Oh my God, you have so many friends. That's who I am. That's who you married. That's who you married. Because he was very antisocial. Like he didn't have that many friends. I think he probably had one friend that I've known of. And I'm like a social butterfly. Like I talk to everyone. I make friends easily. I have, four amazing best friends of many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my fourth best friend, I've probably been best friends with her like for 2 to 3 years, but we're not gonna go into that right now. But anyway, so I had that, I couldn't be with someone with someone that will control me in that way. And I couldn't be me if I would have to leave my friends behind because of someone who says that loves me. Someone that loves you doesn't take away, it gives you, it makes you better,
Yeah,
right? It,
yes,
like you
they
said,
add
it,
to
it
your
makes you.
life.
Exactly. They add to your life. They make you a better person. They make you a better human. They make you a better friend, a better mom, a better sister, a better daughter. They make you that because they love you. Someone that doesn't even want your parents around, that everything has to be about them, that you have to be at their beck and call because if they show up, you have to be at the door ready to grab the bags that they're carrying, things like that. You have to be on guard all the time. Someone like that doesn't love you, right? Someone like that, they're so much, you're more into them than they are into you, if you think about it. Because they're just using you. Like you're like a little puppet to them. So for me, someone like that, it couldn't work with me.
Well,
It's weird to me.
Miss Nexie, if I'm being completely honest, I feel that's the reason why the relationship didn't work out because that's a whole nother topic. But sometimes some people need to be in a relationship with somebody who only needs them. You know, they're that sort
Hmm.
of individual, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some people, that's what they like, and they're seeking somebody who wants to be the complete focus of their life. you know, and that's them. But I was not one of those people. And when I
Mm-hmm.
finally like realized, like, wait a minute, when's the last time I talked to my friends or this person or that person? It's, you know, when you're in that sort of relationship, it's like you're in this deep fog and you don't even realize how you've been controlled and puppeted, that you're like, when's the last thing I did just for me? They consume all your
Mm-hmm.
time, your energy, your money, your everything. They have your mind so
Mm-hmm.
squirreled up. Literally, your mind
Yep.
is scrolled up.
Yep.
They have you crazy that you can't do anything but be angry. And when you are in that space of being angry, you're not going to do anything with your life. They have you exactly where they want to have you, broken.
Yeah. And to rely on them, just on them.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I think I said this before to you, Miss Marlene, of a coworker I had. I think I did. I think I said it to the chatters too. So I'm sorry if I'm going there right now again. But remember, I said about this person that I went out with a couple of times, and all of a sudden, her significant other will show up everywhere we're at,
Yes.
and it was so weird to me because I would like we'll be sitting down getting something and she'll be on the phone and I'll be like, "What are you doing?" And this is before we could share locations, right? "Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just letting him know where I'm at." I'm sure now that we can share locations, he probably has her like pinned
Yeah.
everywhere. But anyway, so and just letting her know that we're here, blah blah blah. And she'll be on the phone constantly. Like we'll be eating, and the phone will be boom, 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 lighting up, and it was just him, the text, and she will answer right away. And I'll be like, "Dude, why don't you flip your phone around and just concentrate?" "Oh, it's okay. He just wants to make sure that I'm okay." And I said, "No, he doesn't." And I did say this to her alone. I said, "That's not healthy." I said, "I'm not trying to say that he is, clingy, abusive, and whatever, but he's not respectful of your time." And I said, "And that's not a healthy relationship. When you have to constantly tell people where you're at, and you have to answer everything right away, and you have to be this to their disposal, whatever it is that they need to do." I said, "When you have someone like that, it's not it's not a good
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
My,
It's not. That's abusive." And
yeah.
so I stopped going out with her, Miss Marlene, because the third time that this happened, I saw the location where we're at on Facebook to begin with, and I got
Mm,
tagged, and I was so furious because at work we're not supposed to be putting our lives on Facebook. That's the first thing they tell you. You're a professional. You don't do that, right?
mm-hmm.
And this person tagged me, and then the location is there. I was so scared, and then 5 minutes later, he's right there. He was working around the area. I'm like, "Are you
Right.
kidding me?"
How
I got up,
convenient.
Miss Marlene. I got up, I grabbed my keys. I got up, I grabbed my keys, and I left. And they thought I was going to the restroom. I didn't come back. They asked me, and I told them straight out in their faces. I said, I need a meeting with all of you guys. We need to sit down." And that's when I told her. I said, "That's not healthy." I said, "And I don't appreciate you sharing your locations when I'm with you, because what if somebody wants to find you and pew 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 you, and they're gonna unalive me because of you?" I said, "No, I don't share. The only time I share my location is when I go far away. I share with the people I love, and my best friend got it this last time. My kids, you know what I mean? Like I share with the people that I love, just in case something happens, they know where I'm at. But if I'm not going anywhere like that, or I'm not going to be sharing that. No, where are you going? None of your business." Somewhere, but I don't know yet, or whatever, right? But I said to her that that's not healthy. I don't know if she's still in that relationship, Miss Marlene, because from that day on, it was kind of weird for us to hang out. Like I don't know. She kind of felt, I think, bad or weird out of the things I said, or maybe upset. I don't know. But we didn't hang out anymore. And I stopped hanging out with them because they work in the hospital, and under me, so I didn't want them to think like, "Oh, we're friends now, so I can get away with things," right?
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped hanging out. It was just somebody's birthday that we were going to, and so, but those things, Miss Marlene, is what I could never be that person. I will never allow someone to control me like that.
Yeah. Miss Miss Nexie,
I just could.
Miss Nexie, the thing about it is because I have been there, and it's a very subtle thing that you just find yourself in that trap. It's like it starts off
Kind of
with,
weird.
huh?
I said, isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Go on, Miss Marlene.
it's a
Go on, go
very
on.
subtle thing. It's like first, it's like a one little thing, like, and you're like, why did you do that? And then they do something else, and they keep pushing further and further, more buttons, more triggers, more red flags, until you are like, oh my goodness, look at all the things that you've done, and by the time you're fully immersed in it now. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just like, all their toxic relationships. It's not like you choose it and you want it to happen, but sometimes it just happens to you. And that's what happened to me. I don't blame anybody but myself. I say I
Mm-hmm.
chose a toxic person. I knew they were toxic. I thought I could change them. I thought I could make them happy. And the only person that I made unhappy is me.
Yeah, and it happens, right? It happens. And I, to me, again, I don't have the experience of many relationships. So you and I are in the same boat. We don't really know, right, how we will be, if we will be able to be manipulated, whatever, because we don't have that experience. But with the person I married, he was so, again, antisocial, and I mean it. Like, he will go to work, come home, and only the one friend that he met in junior high, I met this guy like a handful of times. They're good friends. So that was the only person, like his only person. Like, there was, and they would hang out once in a blue moon. It wasn't like an everyday thing, or they wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it was weird. And because I was very friendly, he will voice it like, oh my God, you're so friendly. Like, you shouldn't be that friendly. Like, why? Well, people take it the wrong way. Then let him come to me and I'll put him the right way. Like, that's not, if I will say good morning to someone, why are you saying good morning? You don't even know that person. It doesn't matter. My dad, brought me up the right way. You're supposed to say good morning when you're entering somebody's home, or when you're going to to the market and you see someone, good morning, good afternoon. I go, that's who I am. And I at one point I said, look, if my father, who is my father, was never able to control me, okay, ever, even though he thinks he did, but he was never able, he was never able to convince me to do something I didn't want to do. I said, if my father, who I adore, I loved, and who raised me, and he has my heart and I have his, he couldn't make me do something I didn't want to. What makes you think you will be able to? That's the one thing I said the last time he was trying to kind of say, make me feel bad because I was very, nice to people. I was too nice to people. I was very friendly. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, whatever. So
Yeah,
I told
they
him
make it
that,
seem like
and I will bring it up.
they make it seem like you're weird, that you have emotional intelligence.
Mhm. And I said, no, 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 no. My father, he can tell you. And I said, next time you talk to him, ask him if he ever made me do something I didn't want to. Ask him what it took and how many days I was either grounded, time out. And I will, at the end, he will say, just whatever, don't do it then. And I will say, I won. I said, I'm the last of six. I'm a brat, and I'm someone that cannot be tamed. I'm one of those beasts. I'm just kidding. And so, I know that it's probably it's unfair to say, to have that, just the one reference, right, to my ex-husband, whatever. But because he tried, is why I'm saying, that he tried. And I say, people cannot make me be like that. They can never make me be that type of person, because, he was so strong and so antisocial and so weird. He didn't succeed. So I know that nobody will succeed on making me do something I don't want to, or turning me into someone that I don't even recognize myself. Like, like that, because I am friendly. I'm very kind to people, and I'm not, tune my own horn, but I am very friendly. I am very giving. I am very helpful. I am very respectful. And when I give you my friendship is for life until you decide to either wrong me or betray me or whatever, or you don't want my friendship anymore. I'm like that type of person. And, he tried for years to say certain things like, oh my God, there you go again. Now you're friends with that person now. Or, don't visit the neighbors and I will visit my neighbors, the front, the back, and whatever. Because you never know, Miss Marlene, who you're going to need one day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be friendly and kind. The world sucks. So
Yep.
I never listen. So I can say that I will never listen. I will never change. So when I have, and I'm telling you this because of a friend, Miss Marlene, that he was always like with the group of us, college friend group of us, and we will call each other. We will meet sometimes. One time he was in San Francisco and we were like going to San Jose, which is city next to it, and we're gonna go there. Then to Santa Barbara, which is another city there on that area. And we told him, and he will come. Whatever we were, he will come, whether he was dating someone or by himself. And he got married recently, about 3 4 years ago. During the pandemic, by the way, we couldn't attend because they had to, like, the party was shut down, so they had to just do it like in the courtroom, and that was it. And so he got married, and ever since he got married, first she liked us, right? She was like, "Ah, I like you guys," blah blah. All of a sudden, he stopped calling or returning our calls. And our text sometimes will come back with weird messages like, "Oh wow, that's weird. Like that's not the way he writes." Because you know how your friends write, and then we will invite him. We'll call him and say, "Hey, because we used to do that. We used to call him and
Exactly.
say, "Hey, we're gonna be in San Jose. We're gonna be in Las Vegas. Blah 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 tomorrow night. So we'll see you there." And yeah, yeah, I'll be there. Whatever. And then he started like not picking up, and then he will text us like, "I'm a married man now. I can't be doing those things." And I was like, "That's not him. Like he wouldn't say that. He will say like, the ball and chain won't let me go out." Or something like that, right? Something funny, something weird. And so we were feeling kind of weird, and we went and visited him because we were near his house with two other friends, so it's three of us. And we called and say, "Hey, we're in the area. Wanted to know if we could come." And he wouldn't answer for the longest time, like a yes or a no. And we were about to take off, and then he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, my wife will be here in 5 minutes, so yeah, you guys can come over." That's how he said it. So that means before she wasn't there, and therefore we weren't welcome.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, he pushed us away. Yeah, he pushed us away. He doesn't really talk to us anymore. And, kind of like that. And then I was talking to his mom because we're good friends with his mom too and his dad. And she was telling me that, he's pushed them away too, that everything is concentrated on her side of the family.
Mm.
And even for Mother's Day, sometimes he won't even show up. Like he will show up late at night just to give her some flowers and take off and not take her out. Father's Day, the same thing, and birthdays. He will, come up with something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't go, but I'll be there next week to give you your present." So she's like, "It's not just you guys; it's everybody." It's weird.
Yeah, but the
That's why I'm
hard
saying that
part,
will never be like that.
but the what the hard part is that you're not able to save people. No. You see that they're
No,
in
you
that
can't.
toxic relationship, but they don't want to be saved.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can only go so far as to what you tell them, right? Because I am, again, my, I have a big mouth. Sometimes I can say things that are not appropriate. It can hurt people's feelings. And, uh, sometimes I have to, like, my friends will, kind of like, give me a little tap, like, "Don't say that," or "Shh, be quiet." I can be like that. I can be that friend, but I don't want to because I don't want to put any ideas in his head. If he's happy that way and he thinks it's love, it's on him. There's nothing we can do,
That's not
although
your
he is a good
problem.
friend of mine. Exactly.
Hmm.
That's exactly what my other friend said, Miss Marlene. Shut up. It's not your problem. In
Yeah.
another nice way, but you're saying it really nice.
Yeah, but but that's what I had to do for a few people that were around me in friendship, relatives. It's like you don't agree with who they're with, but I had to come to that space like, Marlon, that's their romantic relationship. That's their friendships. And maybe because I don't like them, it doesn't mean you have to like them. So I had to also check myself and not being trying to control who people are friends with and what they like and who they're with. That's I had to step back from that because I was driving myself crazy. But when you get to that healed space, you know what a healthy relationship is. You know what
Hmm.
it is to be at peace and to be supported and things like that. But it's very unfortunate, but it's what it is. You know,
And you also
it's
know,
what it
Miss
is.
Marlene, what a relationship shouldn't be, what it isn't, right? When you know
Yeah.
what kind of relationship you have, you also know the other side, which is a relationship that shouldn't be like that. You start, for me, Miss Marlene, even though I was, very like, I was young enough to remarried or continue dating, I didn't go there. I wanted to reconnect with me, right? I wanted to kind of get to know me. And if in the process and years later, I never thought of dating because it's not something I want and something that I needed at that point. I just needed to find me again because I got married young. I had kids young. Everything that my youth, it was dedicated to marriage and kids, right? So I wanted to discover myself. As I was going through that discovery, I started realizing that if I would have married a few years later, I probably would have never married him.
Mhm.
Right? Because you start
You,
getting wiser, you start waking up to
yes.
life, Miss Marlene. You start,
Hmm.
yeah, right. You start going through like, hey, wait a minute. If I would have married him at 25 or 30, I would have never married him. I would have
No,
never stayed
Miss,
there if I would have married.
Miss Nexie, I even say for me, it wouldn't even be years. If it had been probably a few months later. Yeah. Because it was like a little, yeah, it was like probably about 6 months into the relationship where I was like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. I was like, what's going on here? It's like when what
This
they
is
call
not
when
who
the,
I dated.
yeah, as I call it, the mask is slipping or the mask falls off and the true person gets revealed. That's when you're
Hmm.
like, what? Who is this? This is not what I signed up
Yep.
for. This is not how they portrayed themselves to be. But, as my mom used to say, talking to somebody and living with somebody is two different things.
Exactly. And I think, Miss Marlene, now that we're in the topic, I know that we are going to end this up pretty soon. But what I wanted to say is that, you know, my sisters now again as I started my healing journey, my discovery, my loving me, my knowing, getting to know me, I understood where my sisters were coming from before I asked them the why. Remember, like, why didn't you want me to, like, why did you say that, what did you see, right? Like, why didn't you think he was the right person? I started realizing that because I was so kind, so out there, so friendly, so this, my sister, so his real side, quiet, not too friendly, more distant, and blah blah blah. So my sister's probably, in my head, I said, my sister's probably said she's gonna suffer because he's gonna be that person that is gonna bring her down, that is gonna criticize her being like this, or is gonna probably put a stop to all that happiness that she has, that she brings with her. And so my sisters probably saw that. That's what I thought. And then when I asked my sisters, she said, well, we saw a couple of things that we didn't like. One of them was, the kind of like, that control thing, like of controlling your
Mm-hmm.
environment or his environment, I guess. The distance he had to his family, like he wasn't very close to his siblings. Like they were close, but not like me and my siblings were, right? That we're on each other's neck. That's what my dad used to say. Get off each other's neck. Oh my God. Can you guys go on your own? Like you always have to be with your sisters or your brothers, whatever, just to tease us. But yeah, he wasn't like that. And he was a little bit cold, not a little, very cold to his
A lot.
mom. So my sister stole that. And that's why they kept on telling me, are you sure that's what you want to do? Are you sure you want to marry him? You don't have to, baby, you don't have to. And I'll be like, no, I'm sure, I'm fine, I'll be fine. And my sister said, after a few years, when I saw that he had not taken that happiness from you, he didn't change you in any way. I said, oh, nobody can change that girl. So I was okay with him,
Mhm. I think
right?
I
Because
think
we
the
don't
thing
see who we're marrying.
no. You don't you I think we don't see because we haven't seen ourselves yet.
Hmm.
I think that was the light switch being put on for me is you can't see who you're with until you know who you are. And when I finally
Hmm.
got to know who I was, then I was like, Who is this?" It's like seeing them for the first time. Like, who's like, "You're weird. You're crazy. You're not what you claimed that you were, and you're not doing this." So when I finally come to that space, I knew it was time for me to go because when you start picking people apart and every little thing they do gets on your nerves, it's not gonna last much longer. So
Hmm.
Um, we could probably go
Yep.
on for probably another 2 hours, Miss Nexie, but I
Three
think we
more
should,
hours.
yeah, because I think we've been
Yes,
on for
we're
over two
done.
hours.
Oh my God. Okay, okay. No, 2 hours. It's gonna be 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, yeah. We've been on more than 2 hours. Okay. We gotta go
Yeah.
now.
Okay, guys, thank
Okay,
you
you
so much
first.
for
No,
tuning
you
in
first.
to this week's episode of the Sip and Chat. Miss Nexie, any final words?
No, I think we said it all, Miss Marlene. Just the only thing I can tell them is don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you're on the replay, leave a comment for Miss Marlene. She loves them comments.
I
That's all.
love them. I love them, love them, love them. Thank you, Sirius. Thank you always, Metro, Realists. Who else was in here? I don't remember, but any
Hello, trolls.
shout out my channel. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, you are our gold coins. See, I even sent one.
Oh, Miss Nexie said
I'm having fun with
Miss
those
Nexie.
stickers.
Sirius says there's no sound, so that means to go.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Okay, bye-bye.